You said that you are also presenting new titles or new films in your magazine, and you also produce new titles on Super 8. When did you start doing that?
In 1988, the first thing I did when I decided to open the business, I went to see Derek Simmons at Duran, told him what I was going to do, and he was very helpful to me in taking me under his wing to do trips to the labs and meet various people. He took me to see them and helped me get my first prints done. And for a while, I used to have all my prints done via Duran. They would have them produced, record the sound and so on. Obviously that altered a little bit when Duran closed, or shortly before when Derek was poorly. So I had to go to different labs. But it was always an interesting trip wherever I went to see him.
How many titles did you release?
From 1996 or 7, we released more films per year than Duran did, because they started to produce less when Derek was ill. And so I started to produce more at that time, only because they were unable to work on the soundtracks as easily, because Derek used to do those personally. So I had to go elsewhere to have my soundtracks made, in Germany, for instance. And that resulted in more titles coming from me than were being produced in the UK. It was so much easier for me later to also provide the sound for European releases, or shall we say the British English sound, to exist in European releases, to get them out in the UK, because EU law said if it was available in Germany or wherever, I could sell it in England quite lawfully. So we were able to alter the sound by redubbing and so on, and produce even more product.
Did you have a special label for your products?
No.
Because I never heard of a huge number of titles from classic home cinema in special.
Well, we started anyway having a stick-on label, which we would print a poster of the relevant film on that label. So we still use those to this day, but generally speaking, the box was quite plain with just a poster on it.
And what kind of titles? Were they digests or full feature or cartoons?
I did several full. The first full feature I did, I seem to recall, was Dracula, 1931. And then since that time, we released an MGM musical called Broadway Melody of 1940, and other features exclusive to us. And with the re-release of some of the German titles in English, we got quite a decent market going for them. I've always released a lot of trailers, but you always tell if its trailer really is mine, because if I released a trailer, it always had coming soon or coming next week on the beginning, not just the bare trailer. Then we did a lot of cartoons as well, mostly public domain cartoons, because of my love for vintage cartoons. We've done a lot of those, and then we have done 2 reel digests of a few top films, and 4 or 5 other 2-reelers. In fact, this week we've just released another 2-reeler to the market, and that's been premiered this weekend.
What title?
Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
So it's a digest?
Yeah.
And you cut it, or?
No, I had that cut for me.
Okay.
I do have a 35mm editor here in the business, and we do cut the 35mm prints here to have them printed up. But it's a long process.
And where do you have the new products produced then?
In Germany for the lab, Italy for the stripe and the sound, and we share with an American distributor the rights to certain films, because my experience with the labs has been shared by me with him, and he's able to get the discounts using my name to get the volume of films up to get the discount. So it's everything he does has been with my assistance, I hope, and advice, you know.
How high is the print run usually these days for new products?
If I print a new title, my initial print order is always 20 prints, be it a feature or a trailer. It's always 20. And then if I reprint, the next print run is another 20. Some of the later releases we only ever did 20 of, which makes them grossly expensive. And I don't think there is any money to be made at all in Super 8 releasing. I think in America, some people have been producing prints from 4K video to try and cut costs, making digests of them, which is easy to do on video, and then printing on Super 8. The problem there is the quality isn't that good, even though it's from 4K. So even then, the prices are tremendous because you have to produce a negative. That's where the money goes. And as a proper registered business, I write the cost of that negative off against my tax. But if you're not a registered business, it's very difficult to do that. So they bump the price of the prints up, and that really puts a match to the candles they burn, and it's so expensive now for short print runs.
Was there a big sales success, a special big sales success in your products?
I think personally I have two big sales to report to you. One was a cartoon called, when I come to it in a moment, it was a cartoon based on Casablanca called Carrot Blanca, and it was a spoof of the classic film noir involving all the Warner Brothers characters. And that, to my mind, if you look it up, view it elsewhere, it's absolutely hilarious. And the caricatures of the characters in there are really wonderful. That was a great film. And the other one I did was an advertisement reel. I thought we'd have a bit of fun with this one, and we got a Pearl and Dean reel out, which I called Beer, Fags and Women. Beer is self-explanatory. Fags in the UK is cigarettes, and women are women. And the whole reel was full up with very sexist and other advertisements you'd never see in the cinema nowadays, but to watch it is absolutely hilarious. And that went very well. We keep getting asked for reprints of that, which I've still got a negative, so we'll probably do some more someday.
I would be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and now we are talking about the future of your business. And in 2022, you invested in a new website, which was revised again this year. In the same year, you announced that you were looking at a successor for your business. Does this decision still stand? Well,
I still run the business in my own name now, and run it myself because it keeps me alive. Sadly, I'm not a well man. I have a cancer and I can't live forever. So I'd really like to see the business continue selling film, and I'd like to, if it does go, I'd like to sell it on, or the majority of it on, as a going concern, because It's been going now longer than any other UK business. I'd love to see it continue ad infinitum in any form, really. So I have no plans to retire because running the business keeps me going, but I'd like to see the business going when I've gone.
And have any interested parties already come forward?
Not really. I think you'll see the level of stock we've got, but, you know, and where we are in the country, but it doesn't mean to say it has to be run from this building, does it, you know? No, I don't think there is sufficient interest or business potential in selling cine film nowadays. In fact, I have to tell you, we do well with it because we are the leader in the country probably with it. But to start the business up yourself now would not really be viable, I don't think.
Well, so I hope to have you in the hobby for a long time and as a connection point for everyone, because it's such a value, and I'm not sure if there is anyone else who can fulfill that position. My last question to you: what makes Super 8 interesting for you?
Well, it's not necessarily Super 8 that's interesting, but cinema itself is. And that cinema experience is duplicated by Super 8 for me a lot of the time. But I like to see the unusual. And seeing Super 8 on a screen in a home environment is unusual nowadays. If you wanted to watch a copy of Titanic, you could say, well, thank you, Phil, can I borrow the disc? I'll take it home and watch it. And if I said to you, do you want to come round and watch my video of Titanic? You'd say, no, well, I've seen it, or I've got my own disc, or can I borrow the disc? If I said to you, do you want to come round tonight and watch Titanic on my home cinema screen in a comfortable little theatre, 12-foot wide with stereo sound and so on, that's the cinema experience, because you'll also get the newsreel, the adverts, the trailers with it. You don't get that on a disc. It's possible to recreate that with bits and pieces from various discs, but the home cinema experience is the Super 8 one.
Phil, that was very interesting. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best for everything you're planning.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.